Crafar has been busy. Are we going to see a second KTM wildcard in the form of Simon Crafar? You've just had the chance to go out and do a couple of laps on the RC16. How was it, buddy?
I had an out lap, 2 flyers and back in, and I was panting. There's no way I'd last a race. Wow. It was absolutely fantastic. Big thanks to everyone that put that together. Obviously, KTM, Dorna, Michelin, that allowed us to have the proper tyres. Amazing experience. Wasn't the only one, so a few different channels, you'll see it, different people. It was such a cool experience and so fast. That my mind was so busy, I forgot to talk. Most of the lap, it just showed me that when you are really trying, it's not possible, and that thing deserved, some effort. It was wonderful. The front tyre, it's like, I haven't felt that confidence in the front end since I was a racer.
Wow.
And I didn't realise, I just thought I'd lost confidence, but it shows when you have a tyre like that, it just comes back. It was magic. The real brakes, we had the right height device, the aero.
First time as well.
First time I've ever experienced that. Everything else I've ridden, they said, look, it takes a long time to get used to, don't worry about it. KTM said, give it a go. I asked Jack where to use it. He told me 2 spots that you need it. And it was amazing because as the bike dropped, it felt like the engine got more powerful, which was, I knew it would go faster as it dropped, but it actually felt like, meaning I have to make noises.
Yeah.
As it dropped, it went like the bike took off. And even though my throttle, it was amazing experience. Thank you.
And that's a video that's going to be coming your way very, very soon indeed. Make sure you stay tuned to MotoGP.com, MotoGP's YouTube as well. Simon's usual GoPro lap, but with a difference this weekend. Instead of being out on the BMW, the opportunity to be on a fully fledged KTM RC16. So you do not want to miss that when it's out on our channels. We'll focus now then on the fight for the World Championship, which certainly went up a notch last time out at Silverstone. From 2 now to 3, is it, Simon? Because Enea Bastianini, thanks to becoming only the 4th rider in history to do the Grand Prix and Sprint double, now only 49 points adrift. On Sunday night, he held his hands up and said, I'm not in this title fight yet. Do you think he's in the title fight? Is he in the mix?
I hope he is. Yeah. I'm sure I'm not alone. When Enea is on form, he's amazing, isn't he? It's why he's got the job as Pecco's teammate. Really sad that it didn't go to plan. He had injuries right from the start, lost confidence, didn't particularly like last year's bike until right at the end of the year. Now his confidence is up. We know it's a good bike. He's made friends with it. I really hope that he's here to stay till the end. I believe he is. He's just been cautious because he's been through so much. Doesn't want to, big himself up and then it fail. But I believe he's here and he's in the fight right till the end.
And I think it proves what we've all thought, even Enea himself has thought. He's told us on Thursday, if I can get my qualifying right, if I can be on the front couple of rows of the grid, I know I can be there. He stuck it on the front row and he wins both the sprints and the Grand Prix. You feel that is the key to a successful Enea Bastianini.
And the first time I ever noticed Enea in MotoGP, as Pecco had his little scare there on telly, front end, the first time I ever really noticed how fast Enea was at Silverstone on the Avintia bike. I was like, wow, I even commented at the time, he's doing something amazing on an old bike, not with the same support, and look at him go. So I think Silverstone's a good track for him. So other places, he might not be as brilliant as this, dominant, but I believe his confidence is back enough. That machine is good, that he will be in that important top 3, on the podium.
He's been competitive here at the Red Bull Ring before. I remember during that fierce fight between himself and Jorge Martin to become the Pecco Bagnaia's teammate, like he did eventually get.
How happy is he here?
He loved that moment. His dog is called Hagrid. He's a massive Harry Potter fan. So nice. To become the 3rd Weasley twin, or the 3rd Weasley triplet, was a big moment for Enea. But yeah, 49 points adrift now, with some circuits coming up that he likes. Has qualified on the front row, been competitive here. Go to Misano, 2 races there, and he's been magnificent there down the years. You feel that this next little period, with Aragon thrown in as well, could be massive massive for Bastianini's title chances, because you feel that he could really go on a bit of a roll.
You've more or less summed it up perfect. I can't beat that. That's bang on. Then we're going to go away to Asia, rather than me just say what you just said over again. And Jorge, he is brilliant at those tracks, but also he feels that that's his, without the fall in Indonesia, if he can do the same sort of performance there, he's going to fight back. So I think it's going to be an interesting swing back and forwards between Pecco, Bagnaia and Jorge Martin. And I know that's obvious, but they're all on the best bike in the paddock, and they're all on form. I hope it's a close fight. You know, I really don't care who wins. I just want it to be a close one. Yeah,
we'll speak about the GP24 in just a moment. Let's touch on Jorge Martin then. Retook the lead of the World Championship. Just firstly, psychologically, does that have any importance coming into this weekend? Because it looks as though, given just how close it is in the points, it might chop and change quite a bit over the next coming weeks. Is there any importance, any value in being the leader?
It's nice, but no. Otherwise, you just want to be close, you know, be in the fight. I think the big one for riders is that you are strong, meaning really competitive. And it was Bagnaia's turn to be the man. You know, at Silverstone, nobody could quite match what Bagnaia did. There'll be, you know, at this circuit, I doubt whether it will be the same. It'll be one of these two we're watching on screen. I believe that it will be their turn. Oh, hey, remember, first time here, he was amazing. Yeah. If I remember correct, first time here, he was on pole.
And right? Took his first ever MotoGP win here.
Yeah, I mean, awesome, like really, really good. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's Jorge's track here. I can't predict. They're all going to be so close. But I don't think it'll be Bagnaia. Maybe Bagnaia back for Misano, like you said. Jorge, like I said before, I mean, the young guy learns, you know, people can say, he keeps making mistakes. But at this level, they all keep making mistakes because they're all getting pushed to the limit and regularly over. So, yeah, all three of them, it's going to be a tough fight.
You mentioned that mistake, the crucial one he made in the closing stages at Germany. He had a lot of time to think about that. So to come back and, in the end, it seems strange to say, it was a bit of an under-the-radar weekend for Jorge, despite the fact that he finished second in the sprint, second in the Grand Prix. Will that be just a nice baseline for him to build on now going forward in this pretty tight period?
Well, I think, like all the riders fighting for a world championship know, is that to have, like you said, a bit under the radar, you know, to not be at his best track and get those sort of points and results is brilliant, you know. So if he can come to other tracks he feels like Bagnaia did at Silverstone, yeah, and stay on the bike. Like I said before, they all make mistakes. Pecco's done it. I mean, Bagnaia, Jorge, they're all pushing to the absolute limit. And I think, I mean, I've been watching Jorge over the last couple of years, and I genuinely believe he tries to take on and learn how to not do that again. Plus, the doubters, I want to remind that they played with some setup stuff at Silverstone. It didn't slow him down, and they believe it gave Jorge more margin front end on entry because he keeps making that mistake. They wanted to give him a bit more margin, you know, like not on the limit with the front tyre. They think they found it. Proof's in the pudding. Let's see.
The final one of our contenders, the world champion, of course, Pecco Bagnaia, who we speak about an under-the-radar weekend for Jorge Martin. It was a weekend to forget, really, for Bagnaia. Crashed out of the sprint, threw away some valuable points there, and then in the Grand Prix, never really got going. It was a strange one for Bagnaia, and you do feel he comes into this weekend with his back up against the wall, needing a big performance, which normally means he's going to go out and win everything quite comfortably this weekend.
He's going to fight back for sure. Like I said, I believe it's going to be one of these two that are going to be the man to beat this weekend. And I'm not trying to write Bagnaia off. Pecco, yeah, the fall. Then, yes, he didn't have the pace, didn't in the race, but he still put it on the podium.
Yep.
And came away with some good points. You could see there, front end, you know, and he just does not want to fall off it again. He, you know, played it wise, brought it home, managed the gap behind to fourth. got those good points, and like you just said, I believe he's going to be, they're going to have that fixed like they always do, and he's going to come out swinging.
It's been a huge talking point, the difference between the 24 Ducatis that those three guys we've just spoken about are on and the 23 that Marc Marquez and others are on. The gap seems to be pretty big at the moment. This weekend at this circuit, is it going to be as wide as we might see it all year long?
I think it will be, because a lot of the advantage is somehow getting the rear grip and punch off the corners. And not just that, but the rear not pushing the front tyre, which we hear them saying so often. It's something to do engine-wise and engine brake, and it pushes the front. Here is all about acceleration and braking, and I think that bike's better at both. So that's why I think it's going to be those three machines.
Let's talk KTM then. It's obviously a big weekend for them on home soil, and not being the greatest of periods for the KTM and Gas factory racing concerns. Brad Binder, Pedro Acosta, Jack Miller, Augusto Fernandez. Is there any reason to be optimistic that they can pull away from this weekend a really good result?
I came here last year fully believing that KTM were going to, fight with Ducati, and I clearly remember as well that it came down to rear tyre management that the Ducati was better at, because the KTM engine is good. It's probably their strong point, and the thing is, it's no point having lots of power if you can't get it hooked up and driving forward. And it was so clear last year. I'm much more cautious this year. I don't want to say that KTM will be there like I thought they would be last year. I think Ducati, if everybody's moved up, but it seems like Ducati have made a bigger step. And like I said, their steps are acceleration and braking, and that's what it's all about here. So I'm sorry, I don't believe that the KTM is going to mix it with them. It's going to be in that next group. Yeah,
it seems that the atmosphere within KTM at the moment is one of, well, I don't really know how to describe it, but certainly they've not managed to reach the heady heights that I think a lot of them had hoped coming into the year. Is there a feeling for you that as Ducati have made a step forward, as Aprilia have made a step forward and been competitive? Aleix Espargaro was the only non-Ducati rider inside the top 8 last time out. Is there a feeling that as those guys have moved forward, KTM have stayed still?
I don't think so. I think that everybody has made a step forward. It's just that Ducati has made a bigger one.
Right.
And that's what's making it harder, KTM have admitted to us on the live that, it was Pit Byra to me 2 races ago, that he sees all of his riders having the same sort of problems in that, and they need to do something to help it, for the next step. Hey, look, KTM aren't miles away. It's always that last little piece, a few little pieces of the puzzle that allow you to make that step. And I think, really, I believe that when I say all the others, the KTM and the Aprilia have made forward progress. Ducati have just made too much more, and makes them look bad, and they're fighting with it.
I imagine there's potentially a sense of frustration amongst those within KTM, amongst KTM fans, after just how strongly they finished last season. Of course, that new carbon chassis turned up and he took a huge step, and suddenly were pretty consistently taking the fight to Ducati. But after the opening round, away from that, it just hasn't been the case this year, and potentially that the end of last year has not helped the expectations coming into this year to see them where they're currently at.
It's a really good point, because I did some digging about that, wondering just a couple of races back, and want to let you all know that it was clear Brad lost confidence with all those front end crashes. It just kept happening, bang, bang, and no rider wants that to happen. They went away, did some analysing, changed settings on his bike, and then I've seen Brad building again in confidence, and he's on the march back forward again. It was obviously a big glitch that damaged their results and his confidence, and I'm hoping that it's going to keep going forward.
Yeah, you feel potentially a same trajectory for Acosta as well, who, after a very strong start to the year,
Brilliant start.
had similar front-end crashes in big moments and has maybe not been at that level since. So hopefully this is a building block weekend for them. We're going to touch on it after this opening press conference. But speaking of KTM and their sphere, Jack Miller, I'm sure there's a lot of Australians back home that were pretty worried last time we were with you, telling you that it looked as though Jack might not be on the grid in 2025, but good news is, looks as though the Aussie has found a seat. We'll tell you more about that in just a second, plus a couple of the confirmed signings since we were last with you. But we'll kick our proceedings off this weekend here at the Austrian Grand Prix by hearing from the top 4 in the World Championship, our 4 World Championship contenders: Jorge Martin, Pecco Bagnaia, Enea Bastianini and Marc Marquez. Those 4, as ever, joined by Matt Burt.